All right. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
It's Tuesday, July 2nd, 2019, and it's a dark and stormy day in Omaha. And this is the Omaha Linux user group. So before I go into our speaker, I want to do a quick plug in for, we have Aaron Growth is going to be here next month, and I will not be here in August. But we need speakers for September and October and November. So if you are interested in speaking to the group, please let me know after the meeting.
Can't talk about it now.
Well,
So there's this utility called Quad from 1993. Seriously,
so good.
Well, I thought about it the other day, and I found it and couldn't get it to work. And I found a Usenix paper on it. And so if someone were to re-implement it in JavaScript, which is the new king of the internet, would command line utilities in JavaScript be of interest? Perhaps not.
Maybe. All right, we'll talk about that one.
All right. You can tell me no.
Okay. The best headline I saw today is that on the Azure cloud, there are now more Linux instances than there are Microsoft instances. So they will be assimilated.
Well, maybe that's why they were making that new terminal.
Yeah,
Maybe.
when does Windows Subsystem for Linux 2 come out? In September or something?
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that they're going to do another one. The only other thing I saw, let's see, Linus is unhappy with the state of hardware development. It says it's going to get much tougher for hardware developers, for us talking to hardware developers in the next few kernel releases. So I'm not sure what all that's about.
Speculative execution stuff, probably. Spectre.
Oh, that's right.
All the newer ones I keep finding.
Partly. Like this. All right. So tonight, John is our speaker, and take it away.
So I can really get into this presentation, but it's basically what are some tools that exist in Linux that are installed on most distributions that can be used to help troubleshoot network connection issues. So why can I not get to Google or Reddit instead of why is my DNS server not hosting like I want it to? So to clarify that, you did get a handout. There's handouts on the table if you'd like to follow along. So I'm going to go kind of by command, and this is also going to be a pretty overview just because it's an hour long. So I'm not going to be talking about firewalls or wireless. The last page of the handout has some other resources. One is just a cheat sheet from Red Hat about the IP command, because there's a lot of stuff in there. And the other one is a cheat sheet that's, here's a whole bunch of random networking commands. Some of them are installed, some of them aren't installed. So let's get started. First one is NF Online.
Can I ask you to make your font larger on the screen, please?
I don't know how.
Edit. Preferences.
Ah.
And then you can choose the font right below your mouse. It says custom font. Yes, so then you click that, and then you can change the size down at the bottom.
I see.
Cool.
Let's try this. All right, so
Thank you.
yep. So NF Online. So your main networking daemon, at least in Fedora, is Network Manager, and NF Online basically just asks Network Manager, "Hey, are you online right now?" That's all it does. If you read the man page, it really strongly suggests that NF Online has no output, and that you need to use the exit status to actually get a result. If you're not sure how to do that, it's just echo $? 0 means it's succeeded, 1 means that network manager is not online, 2 means there's an error. Yes?
Slide your window here.
I'm sorry. All right,
Something.
So, like I said, 0 means that it's succeeded, the network manager name is online, 1 means it failed, 2 means there's some unknown error. So what's the difference between NM online and just doing system CTL status network manager? This is shorter, that's about it. Just a nifty little thing. And I wanted to talk about this one because the first time I installed CentOS is a story, this is a story that only makes me a little bit look like an idiot. I did not realize that during the install phase that there's a part where you have to set whether the network manager is enabled or disabled by default. It took me about an hour to figure out that my problem was the network manager wasn't online. So, NM online, you should start with that if you have problems. Next up is the IP command. This one has a whole lot of subcommands. And to give you an idea of how in-depth some of the man pages are, there is a man page for IP routes. I believe, yeah, there we go. IP route has its own man page in addition to the one for the IP command itself. Some of the nice things about the IP command is that it has a flag for turning the output into a JSON format if you need that for any reason. So the first one of these subcommands I'm going to talk about is IP adder, which pulls address information. So you can see that I have 3 network cards. I have LO, which is loopback. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that loopback really only exists for backwards compatibility. And then this is my Ethernet port, EMP0S25. I had it explain to me how Red Hat names their Ethernet port like 5 times and I still don't get it. So I just kind of know EMP means Ethernet. If you're on a Debian-based system, it's ETH1, which is a lot simpler, but whatever. So you can see that it says broadcast multicast up, lower up. That means it is up. I've got a network connection. Did you have something?
I was going to say it probably has to do with driver.
The loose understanding I have is that it has something to do with the distance from the network card to the CPU.
Okay.
That's really all I understand about it, and that doesn't really make sense to me, so I probably don't understand it. Again, I've had it explained to you like 5 times and I still don't get it, to be completely honest.
You can go back and
Yeah. But anyways, so this line that I highlighted means that it's up. My Ethernet port is in fact working, and I've got a connection. That's what the up means on this area, right? If I didn't have the Ethernet connected, it would say down. Now I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, but I just wanted to highlight MT1500. So this here is my IP address, 172.16.0.112. So this is an important step because you can have a lot of weird issues, and you get your IP address from what's called a DHCP server if you're unaware, and if you have a garbled IP address, or you don't have an IP address, or your IP address doesn't make sense, it's probably DHCP. First step to fixing it would probably be restoring network manager. After that, I would start looking at what's going through DHCP server. And if you're at home, your Soho router probably has DHCP, so just unplug your router and plug it back in. And it's plugging in. Okay. So next is, also with IP adder, you can add static routes. So just completely bypassing a lot of the other processes of how your computer gets routes. IP link, which I'm not going to do, but this is the command that will let you disable or enable a link. One hypothetical scenario is if you have a server and it has 2 network interface ports, and you know that one of them is having a problem, You might want to disable the one that's working so that you can focus on the one that isn't working, as an example. Next is IPA.
Would that be like when you're bonded?
Yeah. IPA, this, so I don't want to get into what ARP is, but this is where you get your ARP information with the IP protocol suite or whatever the term is. To replace, what was it, Netstat? That's not right. Hey, big hand up, please.
Handouts.
Handouts are cool.
I like handouts.
Handouts are an extra reward. People who actually come here, chat over.
So IP route. This pulls your routes. Really obvious, right? So what that means is, in this case, I've only got the default route. Default route means that if my computer doesn't know where a packet is supposed to go, it just sends it to this IP address, 172.16.0.1. So this is my route. So the first thing that you should do if you're trying to troubleshoot a network and your network manager is online and you've got an IP address is you should find out what your default route is and you should ping that, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. Ping, let me clear this first actually. Ping will let me, that's not right, what was that one? So ping sends a really small packet of information. You can see at the top it says 56 bytes of data. That's how large the packet is compared to my MTU of 1500. MTU is how large a packet I can send. Ping is just sending a really small packet that amounts to saying, hey, are you there? If for some reason I don't have a connection to my default gateway, it's not going to return. Either I'll return it because my default gateway is up. I'm connected to it. And if you stop it, can't really see the bottom there, but it says that it transmitted 27 packets, 27 received. There is 0% packet loss. It also gives information about minimum, average, and maximum response time. And this is all really good. I think I've been told that 10 milliseconds is considered slow, and I'm at 0.5 for my maximum, so after that, you'd want to ping an external IP address. I like 8.8.8.8. This is Google's DNS server. And I like using this one because it's easy to remember, and I can talk to people over the phone if I'm trying to do this at work. And also, it pretty much never goes down, so that's really useful. So again, let's say that you're troubleshooting a network, or you're troubleshooting a connection on your own computer. After this, you would want to ping a domain name. Now I know that 8.8.8.8 resolves to dns.google.com, so let's do ping dns.google.com. And so the output is a little bit different, but broad strokes, it's all the same. So the reason you want to do this is if you don't have connection to your DNS server or your DNS server is speaking you incorrect information, this will fail even if you can ping the IP address version. So some nice things about ping that took me a little bit of digging around to find for some use it is with the C flag, you can set how long you're going to ping for. Instead of having it just go on forever, the C flag will tell it count, and then I have 5, so it's going to ping 5 times and then stop. Generally, I would do like 10 or 20, but I'm trying to do a cool demonstration here. You can also do ping-f or flood. So it's going to send. It's going to send a lot of. It's going to send a lot of packets really fast. As soon as I get it to cooperate with me. It's not going to do anything in terms of output until I do Control-C or some other way of interrupting it. And then it's going to tell you it's in 795 packets in less than a second. Okay. I can't remember how milliseconds and seconds work. So you can see that I've got, I think that's 1/15 of a percentage of packet loss. If I've got some ephemeral issue, that would be a lot higher. An ephemeral issue is you have connection problems some of the time, but not all the time. Right? Next, you can also, with the S flag, set the sending interface. Again, if you've got multiple interfaces that are connected, so again, a server with two network interface cards, only one of them is having issues, or you want to test if one of them is having issues, that's where you would go. You can also do the S flag. And I've had mixed results with this on my laptop, which I think is a problem, but I haven't gotten around to fixing it. The S flag says how large it is. 1400 is going to be less than what I told my MTU, and the MTU is 1500, which I talked about with the IP adder command. The Ethernet standard says that your MTU should always be 1500 bytes, but if you have older technology somewhere in your system, it's not going to be 1500, possibly. But basically, it's how large of a packet you can send at any one time. And I'm going to guess this is about a fail or timeout. Yeah, 25 packets sent, 0%, 100% packet loss. I think there might be an issue. Yes.
Not under this, something that I use a lot with things, A, capital A, so that if I set that method ping, whatever, it's going to give me an audible.
Yeah.
So that when I finally get connected again or lose connection, I can hear it.
Yeah.
What was that again?
A, capital, little A or big A, do not really want to be, but it's ping.
Like a terminal bell.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Little A.
But depending on which way you want to go. You get your little A, and then when it can or when it can't. Now you unplug, you stop the beeping. Plug back in.
That's cool. Okay.
So that's not an actual thing. So next I'm going to talk about trace routes. This is a similar idea, but it's telling you the path it takes. So imagine that you're at one branch of a company and you're trying to connect to a resource at the main branch, but you're not able to connect. It may be an issue with a machine somewhere in between, right? So you might want to know the path that it takes to get from you to whatever that external resource is. And this is not a good sign that it's taking a while on jump 6. There it goes. Okay. Not everything will respond to, so the term is it's an ICMP echo request. Not everything will actually respond to those because of security concerns primarily, which is also why I like Google's DNS server, because I know that they will not shut it off at any point. So there's a couple things in here. If you've got multiple NICs, again, imagining a server with more than one, and they're sent to more than one gateway, you can use the G flag to tell it to use one gateway over another. Same thing with the I flag, you can use that to determine one interface or another. You can also do -in, and the only difference is it's a bit faster, and it's not because it's not resolving these. It's not trying to resolve these IP addresses. That's really all it is. So it's a little bit faster. If you want to start talking about BGP routing, which is basically how Cox is able to send packets to CenturyLink and vice versa, you might want to know about the A flag, which does AS path lookup. You can also tell it, you know what, I don't want to use ICMP echo requests, let's do TCP, let's do UDP. That's starting to get a bit more high-end, and I've had some mixed results in actually trying to do that, so I'm not going to bother. You can also do MTU, and it will pull what it thinks the MTU is along the way, which is that F flag. But it's only doing that at the first link, right? So next we're going to talk about my new favorite commands, which this one may actually be new to some of the folks. Watch this. It's amazing. I love it. It's combining basically the effects of, or the functions of trace route and ping It's just continually sending out packets, but it's also pulling the packet tags. And it's giving a lot of similar and useful output where it's giving you what's the average time it takes to get a response and so on and so forth. Fortunately, it doesn't just print it out to the terminal normally, so you can't have that on and be using it at the same time unless, which one was it? Here. So you can also do the C flag, like from ping for accounts. So let's do 10, and you do R for report mode, in which case it's going to run all of that in the background. Now, doing 10 may not have been the best idea, because it's going to take a while apparently. But while it does that, there it goes. So it pulls all of that information out to the terminal like that. So some other cool things about MTR is it's got flags, X, C, and J, which will take the output and return it in XML, CSV, or JSON format. I don't know of any other commands that will do that, and I think that's really nifty. And you can also mess around with the output if you want to get into that. What all is included, that kind of thing, with the O and the Y flag. So here's another one you may not know. The AB flag. This is from Apache. I don't know if this is installed by default on everybody's machine, but it's a Apache benchmarking tool, so you can use it to, let's do Reddit.com. Oh. I forgot that it's got a lot of flags you have to use. I usually do, let's just do 2000. I usually do this. It's gonna, what? How do I find out that? That hanging forward slash is important. So it's benchmarking is all it's doing. So it runs a specific number of requests. I did 2,000. And it's going to pull some information. What's the server software? What's the host name, port number? So this is the document map that I forgot to add first time. And it's giving you a whole lot of other information about this remote site. It'd be really useful if you think that a website is being slow and unresponsive because it's getting a lot of traffic. You might also cause some of the traffic problems, but it's somebody else's problem, not yours. But yeah, and then it gives you some nice information about connection times and then the percentage of requests that were received in a certain number of time in milliseconds. And just at the bottom that my longest request was 304 milliseconds. So yeah, nice little tool. Again, we're kind of at the point where I'm talking about more niche situations instead of big, broad things. So next is DH clients. Sure, this is the application that your computer, at least when you're tying up for door 29, that your computer uses to get DHCP information. How it gets your IP address. So if you're from Windows, you may know pip-config release to get a new IP address. I feel like you have something to say, John. No? Okay. So the way you do that in the DH client is DH client dash K025S. I think that's right. All right, so I just turned off DHCP. I don't have an IP address anymore. Should have at least.
You still have it.
I still have it, but
This, you can't use regular placement.
oh, didn't. Nope. Thank you.
You don't have to do DER, it used to be.
Hmm?
Just IP16.
Oh.
That's 3 keystrokes.
Okay, so define how many keystrokes.
I got to do it. It adds up, man.
All right. So let's try this again. Still have an IP address, apparently.
Down and up.
That's 25. That's 25.
Yeah. All right.
Let's Let's go to the boundaries of the demo.
Yeah.
Take it down.
All right. Well, you can also do if down and then if up. Point is that should be how you turn it off, and then get a new one with. Yep. Thank you. You need to specify -4, -6 for getting IPv4, IPv6. It's already running, so that's nice. I may have screwed up something at some point. Point is, DH client will tell you get a new IP address. You can also use it to set where you're getting DHCP information. Next is, this is a command, obviously. It's cat resolve, oops, not comma. Type that great. This is DNS information. So right now my DNS server is 172.16.0.1, which is also my default gateway, which means that my name server is my router. Simple enough. If you're having problems with your DHCP server, with your DNS server, excuse me, you can try changing this. Again, 8.8.8.8 is usually pretty good. I think another common one is 1111.
Quad 9.
Yeah, Quad 9. There's a bunch. Google it. I just realized the irony of telling you to Google something when talking about network troubleshooting.
You got a phone, right?
You got a phone.
It may not always work.
It may not always work. Anyways. So next, there's like 5 DNS resolvers, you guys. 5 at least. Or tools at least that can be used to resolve DNS. The common one that's used now is dig. So let's do 8.8.8.8.
So is it okay to ask you crazy questions? Like,
You can
Say
try.
no, say no.
You can-
You get one warning.
Aaron,
Sorry. It's a trap.
How about this? Save all crazy questions for the end.
all right, that's fine.
All right.
Here's the preview. I don't know, why do they keep changing all the command names?
Just make it alias for it.
He can't answer that.
All right,
He didn't write it.
all right.
You need to write any letter to either Red Hat or Linux.
Like, why is-
That's not like.
Why is dig better than NSLS? You know, because it's shorter.
Yes, that is the entire reason.
Okay.
So-
The command line options I find are a little bit easier.
So
You said it very, lots of convictions.
So this is the actual DNS packet that got sent. And there's a lot of commands in there to change some.
Sorry, I'm reading your notes.
Oh,
You know which line I saw.
yes, yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
All right, so I'm not really sure if this works on FTP or any other non-HTTP or HTTPS service. If anybody knows, that'd be appreciated. No? Okay, cool. But again, this is the actual DNS packet that got sent. So it says, where does it say? It should actually say what the service is.
You can do a -T, like if you do a -T MX, you can pull the MX records for a domain. But we're doing a dig lookup on an IP rather than a domain.
Yeah, it does help if I do things correctly. So there we go. So, you can also tell dig, hey, ignore whatever DNS server I'm using right now, and use this other one with dig. And I haven't had a chance to mess with this one yet. Let's do Redis.
Use it all the time.
Yeah, so it just ignored whatever my DNS server is and used this one.
If you're doing like server propagations,
Yes.
hitting a whole bunch of different outside DNSs, you can see if your TTL stuff's being expired in caches.
There you go.
Since that first column is the number of seconds
Yep.
remaining in that TTL.
There you go. So fun note, and this is probably what John was laughing about. If you go into the dig command and the dig command's manual page, and you look all the way at the bottom at bugs, it says, this is what it lists. There are probably too many query options. And that is not an exaggeration. There's a lot of them. Yes.
Can we do a text type? So the same command, but do a -t txt for Reddit at You can put the at the end.
Oh, that's good to know.
And not only uses that DNS server for this command. It does.
Correct. So if you have ever done SPF records for your server for mail, that's a quick way to tell if your records are being read by another server, because mail can be a bit fickle. So there's an FPS record there. This also includes the Amazon email servers as well as the Google SPF and Mailgun. Mailgun is a mail sending service. So that's including all the other. It's saying that it will allow you to send mail from those other SPF servers.
Cool. All right, so again, there's a couple commands that do DNS resolving. One is NSLookup. Oops. It's going to be Reddit just mention these because again, host and NSLookup are considered depreciated in favor of gigs, so that's not my fault.
Oh, do me a favor.
Yes.
Just go into NSLookup, press enter.
Does it say use dig?
Okay, so just put in Reddit. Okay. Now do quit. Type exit. That'll get you. Like, I can't get out, or you can type exit. It doesn't take quit. When you're in NSLookup, you can also say server space and change your query server.
Nice.
I think if you go ahead and run NSLookup again, I think if you just type server, is that reserved? Go ahead and enter. Yeah, so that's shown the default. So if you say server space and then the 8s, that should change it. So it's like an interactive at that point.
Okay.
Sorry for.
No, that's great. I did not know that. I didn't realize that when I was reading the page. So again, the other one that's considered kind of depreciation. Consistency is host. There you go.
Does the mail look up?
Yeah. They pull different information by default. I'm pretty sure that Dig can pull all of the same information as NSLookup and host. Just takes different flags.
I like Dig's output because it will say, here's the question and here's the answer.
Yeah.
If there's no answer, then you could have done something wrong. Huh?
It doesn't put headers, so you just gotta know.
Well, yeah. I think there's an option for it.
Right. Like,
You can strip out extraneous items.
again, Dig's main page says there are probably too many query options.
Yeah.
It's been a minute since I looked at it, but I'm pretty sure it does include a flag for include header options. So the other one is who is, and this one will quite to less because this is a lot of information that pulls. Pulls a lot of information about registration, who it's registered with, what their domain is, what country it's registered in. All of this information, and it also includes DNS resolving. So that's why it's in that section. Not really useful for a whole lot of troubleshooting, but again, it does DNS resolving, so I thought I'd include it. And like with a lot of the other DNS resolvers, I don't know if it includes, if it works with, for example, FTP servers or other services that aren't running HTTP. The other one is this. The other one is systemd-resolve. Because obviously systemd has to have stuff. Systemd actually has a lot of stuff, but I decided to not go too into that because I know some people use Arch and other things that don't necessarily use systemd. So this is systemd's resolver. And again, if you wanted to know what the equivalent from Windows is, so ifconfig flush DNS to clear whatever your DNS cache is, sysd-resolve, flush cache. Done. And then again, you've got if down and if up, which there's an actual network script, and if down just turns off an interface, which I'm not going to do. I did not expect to get quite this far without being interrupted a whole lot.
You told me not to interrupt you.
You did. I was expecting somebody else to be here.
Rabble.
Would interrupt a lot without the courtesy. I appreciate the courtesy.
Oh,
Wow, write that down. That's all right.
he said courtesy, not cursing.
Oh,
All right, so some of the older guys I'm sure know ifconfig. This has kind of been replaced by ifconfig, but it's still included on modern machines for backwards compatibility, and it just prints your IP address information. I actually like.
I like that layout.
What's
Yeah.
the newer version of ifconfig?
IP header.
Oh,
IP.
In terms of it does
The
same-
command is IP,
space DDR.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
because there are other things that it can.
I prefer this layout. It's a little bit more readable, I think. If nothing else, it's really easy to see, hey, this one is actually on, right? Because it doesn't show my wireless card because it's not on, and also the hanging in that it makes it easier to read, I think. So yeah, I prefer this format, but it's depreciated, so I guess we have to deal with it. And again, systemd includes a lot of other cool, nifty things that I just didn't want to get into too much because I figured I'd get interrupted a lot. And
I got more you can do.
oh, you do?
Yeah, so route -n. That's it.
Oh. It's a lot shorter than IP route.
Yeah, that's the old command, so it's not unlike ifconfig, right? So there are so many options, like if you want to add a route, ooh, it gets long.
Yeah.
Netstat-tuna.
Hey, that's deprecated, buddy.
Is it? Does it still work?
It's still installed.
Oh, SS instead?
Yeah, it's
Why do they do that?
It's shorter. I think you're with it, I guess, to just die.
It doesn't make any difference. System D is going to do all in a couple of years anyway. Everything will be system D. There will be no Linux kernel. There will be nothing. It will just be system D. It will all be.
And you just
No, it's GNU system D, buddy.
Oh.
So SS, what?
Most of the same things. Other stuff.
So on the handout, actually, one of the links that's included at the bottom there, the one from access.redhat.com, is a cheat sheet that Red Hat has put out for the IP commands and the associated commands like SS, and it includes some equivalencies between some of the netset commands in SS, for example. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it actually has that one specifically.
Debian, it's what, Etsy default interfaces or Etsy? It's been a while.
Yeah.
Because Red Hat, it's Etsy sysconfig network scripts. That's where the definition is for the device. Or who knows what NM does. It's supposed to work with it.
Here's another thing that really annoys me.
Oh, no, don't get me started on the uppercase crap.
Again, it took me about 10 minutes to figure out that the reason I couldn't restart my network manager the other day is because it's got capitalizations in it for no reason, and unlike every other daemon on my system. So kind of like with, hey, check if network manager is running. Here's how you spell network manager.
No, we just use nmcleat.
I don't know anybody who types things like that. It's a Java thing. Java
If
can't
if
do
the
that.
first letter doesn't go.
Like, that's a class name in Java, camel case.
You got, I think that's the same as NM fleet. It's the same as that.
Could be.
Try it.
And then like that.
CLI.
Oh, yeah, NMCLI, so Network Manager is the daemon, NMCLI is the command you can use to control it. And the main page for that is like almost a megabyte, and I didn't want to read it, so I didn't.
But it's good to know if
Yeah.
you're working on someone's system that has not got all the other extras thrown on it.
Yeah, it's, NMCLI is one of the things that I was like, I don't really have the time to read this, and I don't really imagine that I'll have the time to talk about it. But yeah, NMCLI is the command you use to control Network Manager. It's also got a TUI version, NM2E, which I don't have installed, but it exists, you can download it. I think it's included in Debian by default.
System CTL.
System CTL, yeah, there's quite a few, especially when you start talking about System D. And again, I didn't get into it because I didn't feel I didn't have the time. Anybody have anything else to talk about?
Should I put a plug in for Hurricane Electric?
Sure.
Fire foreground?
Matt, do you want to ask your question now?
Yeah, all these friends.
So with every one of these,
AG.net.
are they just adding more functionality? Or are they like doing it in a better way that fits in with System D, our new overlord, or what?
I think at least some of these commands, like I'm pretty sure NM Online is a System D thing.
It's like you use with a tablet.
But yeah, I think at least some of it is about more options and cleaning up some of the syntax, because there was quite a few commands when I was looking through where it said that this flag exists for backwards compatibility, this flag exists for backwards compatibility. I imagine at least some of it is for that.
AG.net.
HE.
Hurricane Electric, they've got their IPv6 certification course. Yeah, free IPv6 certification at the bottom. They'll take you through the process on how to live in an IPv6 world. You'll ping, you'll trace route 6, of course, set up DNS stuff, all sorts of crap you gotta do. And if you finish it, they used to give you a t-shirt.
I got my shirt.
I got it extra small, so it's I used to wear hammer sometimes.
Something called a hurricane helper.
I ordered the extra large. They apparently someone is wearing a dress pretty much. A little girl or something. It was a very tiny shirt. But no, you go through the whole process of how to live in IPv6 world. It's all this free course. It's actually quite interesting. And you got to spend some time on IPv6. So I mean, head out to DigitalOcean or Lenovo or wherever you get IPv6 droplet, because doing it the old-fashioned way of routing it through a tunnel IPv4 and IPv6 tunnel sucks.
I did an IPv6 course, and everybody in the room was using Windows, and me and Hader were using Linux. So we just made an extra layer of hardness for us, but we still got everything done with everybody. It was fun. Individual's name was Sam Bound, who did the course out of San Francisco.
Was this the?
Hi.
Oh, by the way, row matrix means that it's not resolving. That whatever is on the other side of this 216, 218, 185, 138 is ignoring me. So let's cancel that.
But it could also take a different route to get there, or else somebody's not responding to SKP requests.
Yeah, it could be a lot of things, but it generally means that there's some issue in the connection.
Something to do with Starbucks.
Oh, yeah.
This is a way to see what your external IP address is without like curling your site.
Without doing curl, not that I know of.
See it.
or anyone else. Curl ifconfig.me.
You got CL plus others.
Yeah. Ifconfig.me is the one that I know. So my external IP address is 63.235.126.234. Anything else? You want to talk about any other cool networking stuff?
Come on, man, you got it.
Killing me, man.
Come on, what's your weirdest problem? That is
Your weirdest networking problem. That is way too open a question.
This is not.
It has to be related to networking in Linux. Let's do that.
So I'm gonna ask it anyway and see how it goes.
Okay.
Okay. So my wife's mom got sick. She can't log into her laptop anymore.
Okay.
Inside of whatever web browser it is, it's got some of her passwords that we would like to have. Pineapple, the best way to go about it, or is there another one?
If they're in the browser, just go to their.
You can just tell the browser, you can use a Microsoft browser to talk about.
They'll show you in their Firefox, they will probably use it. Worse, you can install Firefox and import the stuff from that one.
Alright. Well, it's better than figuring out how to use Pineapple.
That's what I ended up doing for my dad when he, I didn't realize we had this password mistake.
Where did you find it?
Yeah, HBase.
Well, it's
HBase, we got installed.
it's a recovery address, it's your job.
It's installed HBase. HBase is a package assembler, it lets you create your own package, do all sorts of funky stuff, like you said. Like with traceroutes, you set the time to live, so you can figure out whether you're talking to someone behind a firewall or router, what it is, because normally they decrease the time to live in the package, and they're about 25. So for firewall, use that HP, you can do some of the same stuff. It's a digital command, but it's a lot more. It's getting more towards reconnaissance. Let's do that. But it can be very useful for figuring out. So you can create certain packet types and stuff like that, see what does work and doesn't work. It can be very useful.
Yeah, and I think there's another one that's on one of the cheat sheets on the link that I've got on the handout. Anything else?
And that, I gotta mention that.
Yeah, Nmap, I don't have it installed, but the very short version is you can use Nmap to find out what ports are open on our IP address, and it could be your IP address, it could be a remote IP address, it could be every IP address in a range. I've used it quite a few times at work. It's really nifty, but also it's got a massive man page. There's so many options. There's so much stuff you can do with it.
How does it compare to that?
It is significantly more in depth. It is like the really short version. The other answer is that it's also available on Windows. So if you're like me and you have to work in a Windows environment, so.
This trouble is real, bro. This trouble is real.
Right.
Windows subsystem for Windows is good.
It is. Just try explaining why Windows is bad to somebody who's not.
But it's got Word. What did I miss? Did you wrap up or?
Pretty much. We talked a little bit about HP and Nmap.
Oh, cool. What's some other ones that are?
There's a lot of commands. It's just.
Well, you said we're not going to do firewalls, so we'll leave out IP tables.
I did wireless dash. That's the best command ever.
And dash N too, so it doesn't resolve stuff.
That can be your,
Dash list, dash.
Yeah.
Show your list of firewall commands.
All I know is dash and capital dot.
That just flushes.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever.
Not only does it get rid of problems you getting out, it doesn't stop anybody from getting in.
Yeah.
completely secure for that moment.
What's that?
Like packet cracker stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's something else I
PCC
don't
dump,
install, but
Wireshark Nmap.
Yeah, well, I like that wax.
yeah, there's a command line version of Wireshark.
That's a,
Journal control.
Yeah.
That box and that wag are like, real simple command line tools that have like 50 different things that you jam in. It is some of the funkiest code ever.
Net loss.
That WOX, that wag. Have you seen this guy? Is that it? Okay, that's it. Thanks, John. That's not John who presented that. I thought it was gonna be Larson, like, oh.
He's got an H.
Not the emails.
What?
When,
It's also on our website.
when it was set out, they.
So I can verify.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Without the last name.
Oops.
I was possible.
That's not good.
I looked at him, he said.
You want me to talk about it?
You're telling me anything about, you're not using it?
We're still broadcasting, yes.
right, so, next month, Fair Growth is gonna.
Move over a little bit, Dave. Thank you.
Hello. He's talking about unicorns. And that will be the first Tuesday in August. And once again, this is my call for presentations. Presentations for September, October, November, and then December we will do our lightning round with social activities. So, thank you very much, and see you next month.
Yay!